Blocking the thing. Of course I made a mistake. Okay, so we flesh this out real time. Hi, anybody that's here. I just got to fix one thing. What was it before? It was the S's I kept getting wrong. Remember that one day? Oh, they got the G's wrong today. Okay, boom. Okay, you are not vegan if you eat B12. There you go. Boom. All right, just make sure my head's not in the way. Okay, there we go. That's our little thing, our little reference for the lecture tonight. And it's a little early. I just figured I'd get situated. I might actually be back in a second. I'm gonna step out for a second. But tonight we're gonna cover a few chapters and just hammer in, the truth of all this. Truth should be important. The truth is important. It should be important. I mean, I would think if the animals could speak, they would want the absolute truth known, and they wouldn't want things to happen at their expense because of a truth or truth not being realized. That's just me. I think many would agree with that. That looks good, right? You can see me, you can see the pretty intense messaging back there. All right. Let's also angle this a little better to look a little more professional. How is it listing? It's listing back down towards me. So maybe this is better. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. I'll be back, and when I return, we will start. Hello. Oh, hi. Hello, Leroy. Nice to see you. And this is the final B12 Friday, everybody. As you can see, there's a sign behind me that says you are not vegan if you eat B12. It's harsh. It's intense. It might piss you off. But it's just meant to spur the wheels of thought. That's it. So it is 6:32, so I am going to start. We'll say hi to people as they walk in. But this is the final fake B12 Friday. I've done a bunch of them now. We have a huge compilation for you guys if you want to look it up. What's up, Lahimza? Nice to see you. Welcome in. Yeah. What's up, Dominion? What's going on? Okay, it's going to be a better, more put together live stream than the circus that I real time exacted last week. So I got everything pretty planned out. I will say I'm going to just touch on the idea underneath chapter 25 and 26, the idea, the notions underneath, as far as vitamin D being fake and creatine being an apparition as well. I'm not really going to delve into those two. I'm really going to we're going to delve 23, 24, and then full send it home with a summary in the last chapter. Just read the whole chapter. I believe chapter 26. Chapter 27. We're just going to go through that whole chapter. Yeah. And we're going to, send us home with that. But nice to see you guys. Everyone had a good week so far? Mine's been pretty good. A lot of activity, a lot going on. As of right now, though, I'm looking at tomorrow night streaming. I was actually thinking of activism Sunday night, but something came up. My schedule is very volatile. It's very volatile. But something came up, and it kind of disabled me. So it really crystallized tomorrow night, late night, with maybe a few drunk people, with some adventurous people. But it'll be tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Okay, someone says, can you talk about pet ownership for vegans, like how pet rescue squares with veganism, especially for obligate carnivores like cats? Now, we're not really delving into that. That's for somebody else's stream on another day. Today we're focusing on the narrative of vitamin B12. Yeah, this is a B12 lecture, but I think if we all just kind of look to ourselves, we can all figure out the answers to these questions. I mean, I can give you an answer to that question, but I think So we have Yao Wang, SF Queen, asking what's wrong with B12 right off the bat. I guess I'll kind of preface everything with a little thematic preface. So B12 is not vegan. It's not vegan. If Yao Wang, if you're vegan, many people. It's kind of like analogous to, if you're a nice person, then you don't eat meat, right? It's just true when you get to the crux of it. But before I was vegan, I thought I was a nice person on all cylinders, right? I just didn't know any better until the truth kind of intercepted me, and I realized that I was voting for violence every single time, and I was definitively not a nice person on an action-based basis. I changed, right? So there's a similar dynamic going on right here. Like, we are vegan, right? We're vegan for the animals. That's why we're vegan. You're plant-based for your health or in the environment, but you're vegan for the animals. And B12 is not a vegan thing. When you vote for vitamin B12, you vote with a lamentation every time you buy that B12, saying that a vegan diet is not strong. It's not perfect, and you have to concede that for the animals, right? Secondary basis, you have to vote for cobalt, you have to vote for cyanide, you have to vote for the mystery bacteria. You're voting for all that to go on. You're voting for sewage sludge to be in these pills, dairy waste, that's technically not vegan, so you're technically voting for a non-vegan thing and strengthening a underlying regarding system when you buy the B12, that's dairy waste. And we're going to get into that actually a bit tonight while we go over the ingredients. You're voting for coal tar. You're putting that in your body. And you're voting for, different mystery bacteria that somehow find their way into the pill. You're also voting for vivisection. Yao Wang, if you don't know what vivisection is, you probably do. It's where, animals get tortured and studied and everything taken away from them. Just for the sake of making a human happy. And in fact, there's a big thing in Wisconsin right now where the vivisection system is overarching an entire happening. There's a lot of activists that are saving beagles from these systems of vivisection, the indeed systems. But we're actually talking about boycotting those systems tonight. That's where the B12 the B12 is not vegan fact kind of comes in. Yeah, thank you. Someone said steak. steak is a corpse, just like Dominion said. You're voting and you're saying a corpse is good. Once you reframe the perspective, you zoom out and you see the full view. You realize that, and we realize that it's absolutely not nice and it's abhorrent. What we say is cool and is and casually great to consume. Yeah, Wang says that's sad. I never thought about B12 like that. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for mentioning that. You know, a lot of people that we've interfaced, that I've interfaced with talks like this, with, you know, even just on the street in street activism with non-vegans, and that I've interfaced online in comments. They can't conceive that, and we're actually going to touch on that a little bit here tonight as well. And it comes down to ego, and the tribal echo chamber, and pick-me-ism, I call it, being a pick-me. That's what it comes down to. So thank you for having the strength to actually say those words in response to what I'm saying right here. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Anyway, chapter 23. All right, we're looking at, okay, I'm looking at my time. I am going to probably make this one a little bit longer, just so you guys know, because I'm covering a bit of content. So thank you all for being here for this last one. Ahimsa, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for actually being vegans that care about animals. You know, thank you all that come here and support and actually are vegans that care about animals instead of vegans that still give in to these echo chambers of ego and this tribalism. It's crazy. It's crazy. I became vegan for the animals. I don't know about you guys, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm out on the street weekly. That's why I'm an activist. That's why I concede nothing when it comes to the truth. Nothing. So fuck all this, all these pick-me's and all these people that are just halting progress for the animals. Sorry, it had to be said. All right, so chapter 23. The name of the chapter is B12 supplement ingredients. Get ready for this. Activated sewage sludge, dairy cesspools, and acne bacteria. All right, so as if the idea of cyanide in your healthy vitamin supplement wasn't off-putting enough, there's plenty of other nasty stuff lurking in those innocent-looking jars of vitamin B12. Truly disgusting things like sewage sludge, waste from dairy cesspools, and genetically modified bacteria, including a strain that was actually named for acne breakouts it causes. All that's in that pill, guys. All that's in that pill that you are voting for when you're voting for vitamin B12. It's been explained that dogs, cats, and other animals get their required daily portions of B12 from rooting around in their own feces. And since most humans don't engage in this type of behavior, we are forced to take supplements. But if the official narrative tells you that one can only obtain this rare bacteria by digging around in one's own excrement, why is it so inconceivable that the sewage sludge would be used as a source? I mean, come on, it's just an easy little next step, right? On March 3rd, 1951, a patent was filed by the Sewerage Commission of the City of Milwaukee for the process of preparing vitamin B12 active product from sewage sludge, under the classification of medicinal preparations containing organic active ingredients. It was granted on July 21st, 1953. So putting this into B12 supplements into the pills was absolutely green-lighted by the authorities in 1951. It was, and you can look that up. That's out there in the internetosphere, I call it. A paper published on August 24th, 1951 in the Science Journal, Vitamin B12 in Activated Sewage Sludge, stated, during studies of biological oxidation of dairy wastes, it occurred to us that the mixed microflora might contain significant quantities of vitamin B12. Further investigation confirmed this idea and led us to test the vitamin B12 content of aerator sludge from a municipal sewage treatment plant. Oh, God. Another study that appeared in the Science Journal, dated 1930-1959, entitled Vitamin B12 in Sewage Sludges, listed the types of sewage that were being used in the manufacturing of B12. These included raw sewage solids, septic sludge, and our favorite, cow dung. Does this sound like anything you'd want to toss into a smoothie and slurp down to get your daily dose of an essential vitamin? Well, to those of you that still believe in B12, you've been sold this notion, whether you like it or not. The study also explained just how B12 was detected in these delicious sounding excrement piles. They first treated the selected slices of sludge with the obligatory sodium cyanide, a must-have ingredient, then dried it. They then analyzed it using Lactobacillus leishmanii, ATCC 4797 bacteria as the test organism. And surprise, surprise, this crucial yet elusive vitamin bacteria, not accessible in any plant or human intestine, was discovered to be not only present but in high concentrations in this feces-laden sludge. So, I mean, net of this is B12 is, or sewage sludge is one of the components that goes into B12. And it's so much correlated with feces as well. So sewer sludge and feces, there's a chance that the feces is permeating into the pill as well, but just at safe levels. I mean, Dr. Greger would definitely mention that if it's in there, it's at very safe levels. It can't even be. I mean, nothing's going to happen to you. The whole idea that vitamin B12 is a specific bacterium found in feces has been reinforced and propagated even more by sources like 50 Comebacks for Vegan Kids. Now, this is a book written by Solomon Tadlock, who was, I guess, Thomas Tadlock's and Brooke Goldner Tadlock's son. And, well-meaning, well-intended young man, just kind of blinded by the ignorance of his parents regarding this. And yeah, he even to him defending the whole sewage, sludge, feces notion, and I won't get into that. But there's all these paper trails out there, all these articles that you can find to where sewage sludge is mentioned, fecal matter is mentioned. It's all associated with aggregating and putting together the B12. It's in there. I mean, if this isn't a red flag, how is this? I mean, what could be a red flag? Like, would it have? I mean, I could come up with something ridiculous, but I mean, I don't understand how this isn't the end all be all red flag. There was also a paper published. So there's all these papers published, and you can look them up. You can type them in. You can verify for yourselves, the association with B12 in fecal matter, B12 in sewage sludge. It's there. This is an ingredient in your pill. There was also a paper published on September 16th, 1961 in the Nature Journal, Vitamin B12 and Intrinsic Factor, which we've touched on the whole bullshit of the intrinsic factor posturing a few chapters back. Oh, guys, please buy this book. Just a little public service announcement. If you want to learn about the intrinsic factor and that posturing that the pro B12ers take, you have to read this book. If you want to learn about the sewage sludge we're talking about right now, if you want to learn about the other ingredients we're going to talk about, dairy waste and coal tar, this is the book. It's called The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake, written by Anthea V. Hayes. Please buy this book. If you are vegan, get the book. Learn the history. There's no speculations here. This is history. This is history. It has been compiled for you to read. That's all this is history. Okay, so what were we talking about? Okay, let me start this over. There was also a paper published on September 16th, 1961 in the Nature Journal, Vitamin B12 and the Intrinsic Factor, which stated that W. Friedrich, H.C. Heinrich, and P. Rydell of Hamburg were able to produce effective antimetabolites from factor B12 isolated from sewage sludge. There it is again. Sewage sludge. Sewage sludge. It keeps coming up. There's your chief ingredient in your vitamin B12, or one of them. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, surely this was just something experimental being tried out back in the day, and they've since moved on to much more sanitary sources. But you'd be quite surprised to learn that this process is still very much in use. In fact, it is one of the most viable sources for manufacturing vitamin B12 today. Another paper dated February 16th, this one in 1987, published in the NIH Library of Medicine. Worked at NIH for a while myself in another life years back. Crazy stuff going on there, by the way. Very not vegan stuff going on at NIH, if I could just say that. I remember one time, and I'll just quickly, I had a job and I was monitoring certain particles in the air in the room. And I was in the room with about 20 hogs. It was insane, just big hogs. And they were just all lined up in their little pens. And I would walk by them, and I could, in hindsight, I feel, in hind feel, I can feel just the sadness and I wasn't even vegan at this point. The sadness and how much pain they were in to a degree. It was not a happy place at all. Ugh, scary place, NIH, very scary place. A paper dated, 1987, published on the NIH Natural Library of Medicine. 2 new vitamin B12 factors from sewage sludge announced that 2 hitherto unknown vitamin B12 factors were isolated from sewage sludge. Wow, this is the gift that keeps on giving. A true wellspring of just bounty and joy and cures. Noting that these factors were identical to the synthetic forms of B12. The structure of those 2 bases was found to be 2, brace for impact, methylsulfan eladenine and 2-methylsulfan and 2 B2. Oh, okay. They're both sound audibly. They're both the same, but there is an I O in one place where there's an I in the other. So 2-methylsulfan eladenine. They're actually the same. They just, and there's two of them. I'm sorry, they sound the same, but they are different factors that they discovered here. It's just a very long syllabled word with. They audibly are the same, but they're definitively different in that there's different letterings in as far as the I and the O. Anyway, to digress. So it was revealed by mass via infrared and nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy and by comparison with the synthetic compounds. So basically, the gunk that was isolated from sewage sludge was identical to the synthetic forms of B12. This makes you wonder how long they've been doing this gamut. Or it says right here, this certainly makes you wonder just how long the feces formula has been in use for making the synthetic supplements. So feces and the synthetic, they've been kind of tied together for a very long time, married to each other. And there's another paper dated March 12th, 2013, that was published in the African Journal of Microbiology Research. Production of vitamin B12 and folic acid from agriculture waste using new bacterial isolates. Specifically referred to deriving B12 from feces. It stated some fecal bacteria strains have been used for the production of vitamin B12 and folic acid using rice bran as a substrate. They concluded that our results supported the concept that fecal bacterial flora are one of the major producers of vitamin B12 and other vitamin B complex. It keeps coming up, guys. Feces and sewage sludge. Feces and sewage sludge. It's all part of this architecture and the messaging and the keen and clever of which these bad actors exacted to get this kind of level of deception and mass partaking onto that surface level and to have it received and bought by the public. It's just, there it is. But the tells, everything here, all the flags, they're all in the book. Just read the book. Oh, God. So we know, for one, that sewage sludge is not good. And we know, for two, that fecal matter is probably in that sewage sludge. So there's the chapter goes on, and she talks about a few more articles where sewage sludge just keeps coming up into the B12 conversation. An unsettling amount of articles, if I may say so. Here's something important. And it says, again, keep in mind that these supplement manufacturers, I'm kind of tangenting forward a little bit, are not required to list fecal bacterial flora or sewage sludge or any of the heavy metal contaminants as ingredients on the pill bottle, no matter how many tries for transparent labeling there are, or even if the product is claimed to be certifiable USDA organic. So they cannot, they do not have to put sewage sludge or fecal matter on the pill bottle. They don't have to do it. They've done the quid pro quo. They've done the shaking hands and kissing babies. They've sent the checks in the mail. They've got this signed, sealed, and delivered. When you look at a pill, and I should have brought my old methylcobalamin. I still got it upstairs. And you look at this, it's very pretty. The labeling is very pretty. It says nothing about feces on it, but we know it should. It says nothing about sewage sludge, but we know it should. It just is so innocent and just common and unassuming. Such a beautiful little package for you to pick up and make sure you're maintaining your levels with. So they don't have to do anything like that. Okay, here we go. Kennedy says vitamin B12 is essential for the human body. So right off the bat, fact. Not a fact, that's a lie. It is required for producing red blood cells, lie. DNA synthesis, nerve cell maintenance, and converting food into energy. So you basically have copied and pasted what you've gotten from ChatGPT or somehow distilled via the internet sphere into that lamentation you just gave me. Dude, you need to do better. You can't just read what all this furnished information is telling you and then consider it a truth. That's why I'm doing these intercepts right here. That's why I'm doing these. So thank you for being here, but everything you just said is bullshit. Now, the book you need to get is this book right here. It's called The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake. It's written by Anthea V. Hayes, and she will educate you, like she educated me, on the lie of vitamin B12. Plain and simple. But all that shit you just spouted out, it's all fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to be harsh. I'm sorry to be harsh. If you're vegan, you're not vegan if you are indeed still partaking in this lie. So I hope that makes sense. And like I said, I'm sorry to be harsh, but sometimes you have to signal the truth in a harsh manner. So, thank you, Kenneth. Moving on. So the second ingredient that we're going to be talking about that's actually in the pill, or could very well be in the pill, is dairy waste from dairy operation runoff. So basically, when you have a dairy operation and there's all this cacophony of activity going on, there's going to be waste, right? We'll start off with this paragraph right here. As for the waste found in dairy farm cesspools being used to make B12 supplements, in a paper published in the American Society for Microbiology, Volume 14, Number 3, entitled The Use for Cheese Whey for Vitamin B12 Production, dated May 1966, the suitability of cheese whey solids was studied as a substrate to produce vitamin B12. The paper begins. The disposal of surplus cheese, whey, a food manufacturing waste product, is a major problem. Since only 3.4 billion pounds of the 12.3 billion pounds of whey produced annually is utilized, a solution is proposed. If the value of the whey could be increased by fermentation to form a valuable product, such as vitamin B12, increased whey utilization might be profitable and thus decrease the waste disposal problem. This would also help the dairy industry economically. Okay, so right off the bat, in addition to this, they make money off of other things as well. You guys have heard of whey protein, right? So they found one big use for that excess whey with whey protein. And they're not even like shy about it. It just literally says whey protein on the thing. And we've got people drinking that Kool-Aid left and right to the tune of whatever they're making on a year-over-year basis. It's absolutely unbelievable. But also the vitamin B12 peddlers and the vitamin B12 benefactors, they saw a huge opportunity with this. So basically what they do is they extract bacteria from the dairy operation runoff, and they give it to the the white coats who in the B12 space. They assimilate it, architect something out of it, and then just tell themselves and then tell the public and sign off with their MD or whatever that this is important. This is the vitamin B12, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered and believed by the masses, or expected to be partaken of by the masses. This is what happens. So that big excess of dairy waste runoff, actually a big portion of it will go into your B12 pill because they found a way to source it, monetize it, make money off of the excess. There's your second ingredient. So you got sewage sludge in there. You got excess dairy waste from a dairy operation in that pill. Oh, man. Another study done from May 1980 to July 1981 was detailed in a paper published in the Nature journal entitled Utilization of Dairy Waste for Vitamin B12 Fermentation. Authored by W. Friedrich, H. C. Heinrich, and P. Rydell, it included an incentive for utilizing whey for vitamin B12 production, cleverly offering the philanthropic benefit of reducing the water pollution problem. So we're not only going to give people better B12 and levels and get that into the pill and the synthetic and get people's B12 levels right, but we're gonna steward and just really be protectors of the environment as well. Do you see how sick of it, just psychologically sick the underlying of this whole operation is? It's incredible. It's incredible. Let's see. So I am more of a 3-2-1 smoker guy for my BB. Oh, okay. Well, someone get him out of here. Mel says methylcobalamin is useful. Cyanocobalamin isn't so much. No, Mel, methylcobalamin is not useful at all. Don't eat it. It's not vegan to eat it. It's terrible. I still have my old pill of methylcobalamin, which I should have brought down here. Keep in mind that methylcobalamin still has cyanide in it, right? And it could also have sewage sludge, the bacteria that's going to be in the pill. It could have waste from dairy operations. That's technically not a vegan thing that you're eating or that you're voting for. Voting for dairy is not vegan. Or it could have what we're going to find out to be petroleum byproduct, coal tar, or an acne-causing bacteria we're going to get into in the third and fourth ingredients. Mel says, I'm not a vegan, no offense, amigo. Okay. I'll just tell you, you don't have to eat that B12 at all. And you also have to understand that B12 doesn't exist in animals at all either. So it's not there. You can be fully vegan and not take any pills or supplements. And I'll just leave you with this. It's the nicest thing you can do for the world, the nicest example you can leave for your kids. And it's truly compassion in action. So please go vegan. Please do it. If you look on throughout my channel, you'll see all kinds of references and videos and interviews, and I do street activism. You can see those interviews that will maybe help you go down that path. But thanks for being here. I see you. I wasn't vegan for 30 years, and it's beautiful once you start seeing over things, and realizing that we can also feel healthier, be bigger, faster, stronger on vegan diets as well. But the crux of it is we're leaving somebody alone that doesn't need to be hurt because of us. I just didn't want to hurt anybody, And you can't get around it. We can do gymnastics all we want, but we are hurting people when we're not vegan. We are hurting others when we're not vegan. All right, so back to the next ingredients. We went through sewage sludge. We know there's dairy runoff in the pill. The third ingredient, it's coal tar. Yes, that could very well be in your B12 pill. According to the Organic Consumers Association, coal tar derivatives used in the manufacture of supplements are the same toxins that cause throat cancer in tobacco smokers. In fact, coal tar is officially recognized as a human carcinogen, as was noted in the 15th report on carcinogens submitted by the National Toxicology Program on December 21st, 2021. Actually, we'll kind of digress. We'll skip, or not digress, but we'll retro move here where the coal tar is initially mentioned. The nutritional website Art of Unity also includes vitamin B12 on their list of synthetic vitamins to avoid. In an article entitled Dangers of Synthetic Vitamins and How to Spot Them, dated October 28, 2014, not too long ago, they even confirmed the inclusion of coal tar in the supplements. Synthetic B vitamins are created in a lab from petroleum byproducts such as coal tar. So there's a lot of quite a symphony of articles that present coal tar as well as a potential ingredient in your B12. The next one is a bacterial strain called genus Propionibacterium, known as P. acnes cutibacterium, well known for causing the skin disorder acne. It's gram-positive, anaerobic, rod-shaped bacteria whose members are primarily facultative parasites in commensals of humans and other animals living in and around sweat glands, sebaceous glands. They secrete sebaceous glands in other areas of the skin. So this has been found to also be in vitamin B12 pills, this acne-causing bacteria. Which essentially, under it all, these are parasites that they're, fact of the matter, Trojan horsing into your little B12 pill. Parasites living in sweat glands, if the thought of this ingredient is in your daily vitamin doesn't make your skin crawl, I don't know what would. Acne is one of the most frequently cited side effects of taking B12, distinguished by blemishes such as whiteheads, blackheads, and pustules. In fact, at least 1 out of every 10 users have reported breakouts when taking the commonly sold 5,000 microgram doses. Along with acne, the propionibacteria have been implicated in other skin conditions as well. We get into a 2015 study confirming such. And we go down to kind of round out the chapter. But end of the day, these are the 4 ingredients that we talked about that are most likely in your B12 pill, or 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of them. Fecal matter, or sewage sludge, waste destined for cesspools, that's dairy operation runoff, carcinogenic petroleum byproduct, coal tar, or creepy crawly bacteria that cause acne, literal parasites that find their way festering into this pill. I mean, just reading this chapter will make you angry. I mean, I think you guys, you see me get angry sometimes, markedly so, when lamenting certain things. And that comes from a place of sensitivity to the truth. When I was first told that, what I was doing before I was vegan, I was super effing angry. I was livid. So that kind of, that transfers over to other deceptions and lies once realized. So, get angry. You want to get angry. And anger can be a sword sometimes. I look at anger as the sword for action. I mean, I don't think I'd be a vegan activist if I wasn't so kind of if I wasn't so, attuned as a human being. But at least get angry and reject this effing pill. Say no. Cut it out. Stop being a pick-me vegan. Stop being I'm going to go along with the tribe vegan. Stop being I believe every single thing Dr. Greger tells me vegan. And be a vegan for the animals, guys. Be a vegan for the animals. The absolute reason you initially went vegan. Thank you. What's up, PJ in the house? All right. Nice to see you, PJ. How you doing? Yeah, this is the last one, man. After this, I'm going to polish it up, have a nice little compilation, nice little collection, And I'll be referencing it here and there, and we'll go from there. We still got Kenneth in here defending the B12. Oh, God almighty. Kenneth, you gotta stop, dude. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. You're digging your hole deeper and deeper and deeper. Just you're gonna have to have a humility check. There'll have to be an ego check, but you're gonna have to back up, take a beat, relax, become present, and seriously consider buying this history book, The Enigma of Vitamin B12, and educating yourself. Because the more you keep talking, the deeper your hole goes, bro. The deeper your hole goes. When we are voting for vitamin B12, we are voting for systems of vivisection. If you're for vivisection, I don't even want you in here. I'm not a fan of vivisection. I hate it. It's one of the most disgusting things that happens in this world. You're also voting for cobalt and cyanide, putting mystery bacteria in your body. Now, you really need to learn the book or buy the book, because there's all kinds of context that's built out for you. So that whole BS that you were saying in the beginning, how it, we need it for our nerves and DNA and stuff like that. Anthea breaks it all down for you. It's all lies concocted by businessmen in white coats. So you're just drinking their Kool-Aid and then just respouting it out to us. So you're like a mouthpiece for industry when you effectively keep digging this hole in here. Okay? And our goal as vegans, as people that seek the truth, is to get to the bottom of these things and to seek context. You want to actually look at the history, dude. So do yourself a favor. If you're a vegan, please do the animals a favor and read the book and actually get the book. Thank you. And everybody in here, give this stream a like and thumbs up. And subscribe. That'd be great. All right. Chief, don't do it. Chief says, I take methyl B12. Chief, don't do it. Throw that pill out right now. Do yourself a favor. Throw that pill out right now. It's a nefarious lie. It's a nefarious lie. What you may be eating, oh God, the stuff we've talked about, fecal matter, and you got people like Kenneth in here defending the eating of fecal matter, waste destined for cesspools, carcinogenic petroleum, and you're eating a very unsettling bacteria that actually causes acne. You're also eating cyanide and cobalt, and those aren't even hidden on the package. It's just boom, right there. So do yourself a favor, take that methyl B12, throw it in the trash, and give it a big fuck you from all of us that are actually seeking and that want to stay true to these truths. It's really for them. It's really for the animals. It's really for the animals. And once again, I'm trying to work on my language. I apologize for the language. Anyway. All right, so moving on, keeping track of my time, we're going on to chapter 24. We're going to talk about the placebo effect for a little bit. The placebo effect is huge. I've talked to people, Instagram messagings, I've talked to people in comments, I've actually talked to people on the phone about this, and there's a certain select group of people that have mentioned that they've been B12 deficient in the past, and then they've taken the pill, and then magically all their symptoms have gone away. So they attribute the legitimacy of the pro-B12 narrative to their own anecdotal happenings. And what they're not taking into account, what they're not seeing above, is how powerful the mind is. And in this next chapter, we are going to be talking about the powerful placebo effect. Chapter 24, the myth of deficiency, anemia and heme iron versus plant-based iron, and the powerful placebo effect. All right, so hopefully by now you have become quite convinced that this mysterious entity known as vitamin B12 is neither an essential vitamin nor a beneficial bacteria, and that is comprised of all sorts of foul substances that could not be considered even remotely healthy in any kind of sane world, which we talked about previously. However, you may very well still be wondering how it is then that people can claim that simply taking a B12 supplement seemed to alleviate their health problems, and that explanation would be twofold. there is a psychosomatic reaction that takes place, officially referred to as the placebo effect. And two, there is a very real physical response to the supplement's toxic ingredients that occurs, wherein a powerful reaction is misinterpreted as being beneficial. There is also the expectation of a positive effect and benefit. And when you add in fear, along with blind trust in white-coated professionals, which these vegans seem to just pray at the altar of daily. They're waking up and praying to their Gregor, their whatever, you name it, their Furman, all those little plant-based docs. You add in fear and blind trust in white-coated professionals and their hollowed test results into the mix, you've got an explosive powder keg of mind-altering emotions that can distort reality. A placebo effect is a real phenomenon where an improvement is observed in a person's condition despite receiving a treatment that has no real curative capabilities. It involves the mind influencing the body, often through expectations and conditioning, and can lead to measurable physiological changes similar to those seen with actual medications. So I want to take a second to talk about the power of the mind regarding, okay? The mind is extremely powerful. And to any of you that are spiritual or that study and try to constantly remember and see and recognize your true nature, you know that you're much bigger than the mind. You know that you're beyond the mind. You know that you are not the mind. You are not your thoughts, right? But the mind is something that's kind of imposed on us by a bigger consciousness. And it's a veil, effectively, that acts as a apparent separate partition or kind of separating factor. And that's where our thoughts come from. Our thoughts come from the mind. And the thoughts, they're always going. But it's meant to basically separate us on a relative level. So consciousness or, the real self can have this experience of realizing itself. And that sounds abstract, that sounds crazy, but what I'm really trying to distill, and maybe it doesn't sound crazy, maybe that resonates with you. What I'm trying to distill is how powerful the mind can be and how it can be levered against us in this apparent life. I hope that makes sense. Hey, Donna, what's going on? Nice to see you. Decidedly Donna in the house. So, used in the wrong way or levered or even engineered in a way that's not for the best of the collective, it can be very dangerous. And this is where something like the placebo effect can manifest from. So in this case, it's used and it's levered to fearmonger, the void of B12 in the diet. We'll start out. Harvard Health Publishing has this to say about the placebo effect. Your mind can be a powerful healing tool when given the chance. And if I may digress, the mind is very powerful and very handy when it's used in the right way. When you see it as not you, but as something that you can use as a tool when you need it. And you really don't need it at all. For the most part, but it becomes like a virus when it grows, and that's when things like the placebo effect, and especially in regards to B12, can become problematic. The idea that your brain can convince your body a fake treatment is a real thing, the so-called placebo effect, and thus stimulate healing has been around for millennia. Now science has found that under the right circumstances, a placebo can be just as effective as traditional treatments. That's how powerful the mind is. It's incredible. It's incredible. The article further explains that placebos won't shrink tumors or lower cholesterol, so nothing that's like a very tangible material type thing. It's going to work more on a mental level, and you'll see more about that in a little bit here. But work instead on symptoms modulated by the brain, like fatigue and perception of pain and stress-related issues such as anxiety, irritability, and headaches, all of which are listed on the 100 symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiency. Well, look at that. It involves a complex neurobiological reaction that includes everything from increases in feel-good neurotransmitters like endorphins and dopamine to greater activity in certain brain regions linked to moods, emotional reactions, and self-awareness. The placebo effect is a way for your brain to tell the body what it needs to feel better, which can result in providing a therapeutic benefit. Placebos can affect how a person feels, but they're not designed to have a significant impact on underlying illnesses. So they can't really penetrate something very material. Like they're not going to diminish a tumor, I guess I would say. A placebo is given more for mental relief of a patient than the actual effect on a disorder. It may make you believe that some sort of improvement is taking place, but it will not cure you. An article published in 2018 on the International Review of Neurobiology entitled The Fascinating Mechanisms and Implications of the Placebo Effect stated that it is becoming clear that any treatment is significantly modulated by placebo effects in clinical settings. Placebo effects are positive outcomes that are attributable to the psychosocial context. Psychosocial. Can you say tribal echo chamber effect? Everybody else is saying it and doing it, so I got to do it too. And this is an engine that runs on a subconscious level. Psychosocial context and individual treatment expectations rather than the action of the medication or intervention. That's an incredibly important paragraph, and I'm going to read it again. Placebo effects are positive outcomes that are attributable to the psychosocial context in individual treatment expectations rather than the action of the medication or intervention. Bam. Right there in the article. Truth. Okay, I gotta take a break for a second. Excellent. Anyway, little intermission. How's everybody doing? Okay, I'm at 52. We're probably going to take this to around another 30 to 40 minutes, guys. So, yeah. What in the... Candace is still here. So you are all against the National Vegan Society. We're just here for the truth. We're not for or against societies. If a society is like aligned with propaganda that really funnels from and festers from industry, yeah, we're against that. But we're not really, talking about organizations we're for or against here. We're just for the truth, Kenneth. So, I'm trying to switch over to tea at night, everybody. Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, the Vegan Society sells B12 on their website too, by the way. So we're definitely not for the Vegan Society. Anybody selling something, guys, look the other way. There are vegan activists that sell or have sold B12 in the past. Please look the other way. Because of course they're going to tell you all of this, all of what I'm trying to spearhead is BS. Because they're pockets, okay? Goes back to the saying by Upton Sinclair, you will never convince a man of something if his income depends on him not understanding said something. Please follow the money. This is SG says, no, it's not. It's definitely pro-vegan. SG says, this is an anti-vegan channel. No, we're vegan, man. We're vegan. You can get this book on Amazon. Amazon has this book, Amazon.com. You can get the Kindle, get the paperback. I like the paperback because I can read and I can highlight and I can read it again. I had to read the book twice. I like to think I'm pretty smart, but I had to read the book twice because she goes deep into the context. This is going to go right up there. This is going to go right up there with your Mad Cowboy, your What a Fish Knows, your Superfly by Jonathan Balcombe as well, World Peace Diet, World Peace Way, Your Inner Islands. This is going right up there into the actual vegan bookcase. While you're at it, if you got any plant-based doctor books, Instructions to Burn, get them out of there. you know, the things that have been unearthed over the past 1 year time horizon, at least by my purview, it's time to get anything that, you know, is not 100% truthful, get it out of there, you know? If you're a vegan, be a vegan. Okay. Anyway. I guess, PJ, I guess about a year now, coming up on a year, something like that. I think about a year, yeah, and just feel better knowing that I'm not partaking in that whole gambit anymore. You know, it's like, do I feel better or don't I? Probably feel the same. Who knows? But it's a whole nothing burger as it is. But on a level of truth, I feel a lot better knowing that I'm more truthful to the cause of veganism. So I'll say that. And it does damage. And there's lots of chroniclings that eating that stuff does a lot of damage. And a lot of those chroniclings are presented in the book as well, as far as the different articles, papers, and studies that have shown B12 and eating it is damaging to your body. I mean, just imagine just inundating your body with all that shit every single day and then saying, yeah, B12, you know, and just being like a pick-me for the tribal echo chambers and for science enterprise. It just cares about getting your money. Don't be a fucking idiot, please. Please, they want your money. Science enterprise, they want your money. Don't be a pick-me for science enterprise. Don't be a pick-me for those authorities in white coats, please. Oh yeah, okay, so Decidedly Donna, this is the book. You know, also guys, I put up the post of me and Anthea's interview from, I don't know, I guess 6 or 7 months ago now. And I know we referenced the book a lot in that. Check that out. It just came to my mind. But you can go to Amazon. You can buy the book on Amazon. It's called The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake by Anthea V. Hayes. Yeah, Frankenstein on the front, because basically that's what's happening. That's what people are becoming disciples to, this whole Frankenstein effect. Decidedly Donna, everybody go like and subscribe to her. She does the Trivia Tuesdays, which I constantly fail at every time I get it wrong, but I feel I'm going to get one right soon. No, I don't know. But I'm always learning on her channel with her Trivia Tuesdays. And yeah, so thanks for being here, everybody. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Where was I? You know, I sent a link out, and I'm hoping that certain vegans got this, to a few of my vegan friends that initially, you know, very interested in the message and have kind of since radio silenced it on me. But I sent it out to see if they'd be here. I sent Gary Yourofsky a invite to this stream too, so I don't know if he's here, if you're watching Gary, but everybody knows that Gary Yourofsky doesn't get his nutrition from a pill or a bottle, doesn't believe in the whole B12 thing. I don't know his greater context, like who is surrounding him and what kind of personas are kind of, you know, around him. But, you know, I'm hoping that we get, you know, some gas from this message. This message gets some legs, you know. It's all for them. It's full stop. All for them. It's for the animals. You know, for the animals, you're anti-B12. Anyway, so if any of you guys are in here, maybe you're not saying anything, nice to see you, and thanks for being here. And, you know, I love my vegan activist friends. All right, so here's a great question. Who wants to answer this for Chief? He says, so where do you get your B12 from? I'm going to let one of my friends answer that for you in the chat. While they're doing that, I'm going to figure out where I was. Yeah. Well, okay. All right. So let's get. I'm going to kind of round out the chapter, but the placebo effect, it makes sense. You know, you're having symptoms. There's all kinds of different symptoms. There's like over 110 of them now. All of a sudden, a science authority tells you to take B12 or get your levels tested. They come up short. Science authority tells you to take the pill. You take the pill. You go back to the said science authority. He says, great job. Your B12 levels are great. And then you, upon listening to the science authority, say, you know what? I do feel good. I feel much better, vibrant, alive, vivacious. That's the placebo effect in action. Boom. You've been preyed upon by the men in white coats. You have been predated upon. But the placebo effect kind of rounds out there. Usually, at the bottom of page, we'll kind of finish up the bottom of this page. Usually, placebos used in clinical trials are basically harmless substances like sugar pills. But with vitamin B12, what's being substituted as a cure for an ailment, if indeed something even physically wrong, contains ingredients that do cause harm. So usually placebo pills have nothing. They're like sugar pills. So they're kind of in and out. But the nefarious thing with this placebo effect is they're getting the fecal matter, the sewage sludge, the coal tar, the dairy waste into your body, into your temple. You only get one of these. You only get one of these. And here we go. I'm gonna get this in here too. This is a good way to round out this chapter where we talk about the contrarian effect, which Gary Yourofsky champions as well. When a bunch of people are doing the same thing, they're wrong. The contrarian effect laments to the legitimacy of the small minority that are actually always right. And you can't blanket that 100%, but in most cases, this is the case. And she kind of delves into it in the end of this chapter here. Let's see. There's another powerful psychological component at work here, arising out of the pervasive marketing of the fear of deficiency. The indoctrination regarding anything to do with vitamin B12 has been so thorough and so extensive that if a vegan dares to publicly question the necessity of taking B12 supplements, it elicits an immediate defensive reaction from other vegans. It challenges not just ideas, but egos. And we've seen that. And forces people to confront their own limitations. They wonder why they haven't been privy to this hidden information. And just who is this person? I guess me. And of course some of my other friends. Me as far as like in the limelight. But of course the biggest one, poor Anthea, who wrote this book. Ridiculed ad infinitum because of this, this notion I'm presenting. Just who is this person pretending to know more than they do? It can be taken as an affront to what they, as a collective group, the tribe, have been told to believe. On a very primitive and subconscious level, the vegan who's questioning the taking of supplements, something that's been so deeply programmed, is disrupting the tribal balance. It brings fear of the unknown into the equation. They've had no reason to question what they've been told thus far, having trusted that it comes from respected sources, evidence, right, within their own community, the tribal echo chamber. Someone coming along and stirring the bubbling, murky cauldron of B12 soup can even feel threatening, like an aggressive attack on their own belief system and sense of self. So I guess this needs to be understood a little bit of the actual dynamic that's happening. It's just kind of it's a friction point. And the challenge is for the people that are in this web, and some of them very good vegan activists, to see over this dynamic that is unfolding, this dynamic that's happening in the person of them, this separate egoic entity, and see above that, which we try tirelessly to reach people with on this channel, this notion of seeing above these things. And notice, truth versus lie. That's really all it is. How dare someone have the audacity to question the official scientific consensus of vitamin B12 that's been dictated and handed down by those we trust in authority? Dr. Greger much? Why, it's been repeated by every respectable plant-based doctor. It's in every Google search result. It's been officially fact-checked, and there's tons of published studies. It's in Wikipedia, for crying out loud. made me think of my friend who's constantly looking up Wikipedia for answers. How could anyone even think to question these indisputable scientific sources and facts? Now here comes a hard hitter. I want you guys to zoom in on this one. A vegan who does question the existence of vitamin B12 deficiency, or even flat out denies it, essentially a vitamin B12 denialist, will be firmly reminded that they are a minority within the group, and therefore could not possibly know what they speak of. Taking such an unpopular position surely calls for ostracism and ridicule. Go, we've seen that. That's where we're at right now, and that's okay. That's okay. That's exactly where we're at right now. But aren't they forgetting that vegans themselves are in the minority of the population? In their small number as a group within society certainly doesn't invalidate their beliefs or their credibility, or automatically infer they must be wrong. Have they forgotten how they once went against the grain, swam against the tide, thought outside of the box, questioned what they have been told when they first decided to go vegan? Yeah, it's the same dynamic, but this one, paradoxically or ironically, is met with seemingly more inertia, more resistance. And you would think that Vegans for the Animals would see over this lie, but what eclipses all things seemingly is it's ego. It's that three-letter word, very simple, EGO. It's ego. Henrik Ibsen, author of An Enemy of the People and other popular plays, who was known for challenging the dominant norms of the 19th century society, once said, "The majority is never right." And this is what Gary Yourofsky talks about when he talks about the contrarian effect. The majority is never right. Never, I tell you. That's one of these lies in society that no free and intelligent man can help rebelling against. Who are the people that make up the biggest proportion of the population? The intelligent ones or the fools? End quote. He certainly has a point there. His average IQ of the general public is only 100, with those possessing IQs of 140 or above making up 2.1% of the population. So, something to take into account, guys, when it comes to placebo, the inertia into seeing the truth, and all the indoctrination that's so ubiquitously floating about. And yeah, long and short of it, the placebo effect is a real thing. Yeah. The last paragraph I highlighted. After all, how can you be deficient in something that never existed anywhere outside of a drug lab? And wouldn't that be considered something undesirable that you would want to be deficient in? Doesn't that make sense? It was all made in the lab. Don't you want to be deficient in that? You want scientists in white coats deciding and dictating what to put in your holy only vessel? Taiwan Animal Protection, what's going on? Nice to see you. Okay, so chapter 25 and 26, I'm just going to touch on what they are. Once again, you guys you really got to get the books so you can read. These are great chapters, but in the spirit of time, and they're not 100. They are 100% B12 relevant, but we don't talk about B12 too much in these. So chapter 25 and 26, they're about vitamin D and they're about creatine, about how creatine is an absolute apparition and how vitamin D is also a scam, just like B12. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that the sun gives you, the absolute sun, this heavenly body gives you, that the scientists in white coats can give you in a pill. Doesn't happen. So chapter 25 is called Vitamin D, Rat Poison versus the Sun. I've had different activists that are just bad actors in the space I consider right now that aren't even vegans that have defended vitamin D. It's disgusting. It's like so ignorant, and they're just the stupidity confounds me. That have championed and defended vitamin D as a real thing. And this all comes down to the overarching science enterprise and how it beguiles its patrons. It just completely beguiles them. I mean, these said activists, I would think, I used to respect before seeing this clear distortion of, truth mechanisms. It is crazy. Science enterprise, it is a force to be reckoned with, a force to be reckoned with. The next chapter in creatine, she's going to talk about creatine and the scam of creatine, and that's chapter 26. So don't put any of those in your body. We can distill out a little summary there. Now, for the end here, I want to read this entire chapter, so you're going to have to listen to my boring voice. Now, hopefully it's not too boring. Because it acts like a summary, a kind of distilling of the whole book. And maybe I'll stop at a few beats and we'll touch on a few things. But chapter 27 is called Cyanide Snake Oil versus the Key to Health. And an absolute kind of summary of the book and all the wisdom that presents in the book. And once again, I just want to thank Anthea for writing this book. As somebody who's been vegan for decades and went down a 7-year trench harvested real path to getting all this information to us who care about the truth. So definitely thanks to Anthea for writing this book. And once again, all vegans or all ethical vegans, you guys got to get this book, buy the book, and put it on your bookshelf next to Mad Cowboy, The World Peace Diet, What a Fish Knows, Superfly. Trying to think of other good vegan relevant books. But those are the books, I think I have all those books, except for Superfly. I don't have Superfly, which was written by Jonathan Balcombe, which goes into the inner lives of insects. But I intend to add that to my vegan library. But this belongs with it right up there, Yeah. So let's send it home with the last chapter, chapter 27, Cyanide Snake Oil versus the Key to Health. All right. Before you started reading this book, you may have had many unanswered questions about that mysterious enigma known as vitamin B12, such as, why is B12 the only vitamin in the B-complex group that's not found in any plant source? Why is B12 the only beneficial bacteria no longer available in the soil or accessible in the human body? Why is B12 allegedly so crucial to health, yet available only in food derived from animals or in lab-created synthetic supplements? Why would an alternative health product marketed as a vitamin be patented by a pharmaceutical company? And why is there so much confusion, controversy, and conflicting information surrounding it? Well, you've now learned the answer to all of these questions. It's because, vitamin B12 has never existed anywhere except for in a drug lab, named by the benefactors of this vehicle, indeed. It is simply something man-made and created in a conical flask, which Merck announced as a cure for pernicious anemia in 1948. And you get context on pernicious anemia, the genesis of pernicious anemia, what exactly it is, and some problems that circumference around the whole notion. And that's in the book. That's in the beginning of the book. So all context, all history is laid out very, very simply and smartly for you to read about. So you can learn about that in one of the earlier chapters. It was never in the soil. It was never in the water. It was never in the bodies of animals or in the colons of humans. It has only ever existed in synthetic form in jars of pills and syringes. That's right, it's a mythical creature not found anywhere in nature. It's basically a cyanide snake oil peddled to those on plant-based diets using very persuasive fear tactics, and it has zero health benefits. And as we've seen, it has a ton of health problems that it exacts. It turns out that the only vitamin B12 ever present in meat, and dairy, or eggs was from the remnants of the supplements fed to farmed animals. And even if B12 was actually the beneficial bacteria it was purported to be, it wouldn't be obtainable from those putrefied animal carcasses packaged and sold as food in the meat aisle anyway. Now this is because as soon, and we learned about this in one of the prior chapters, the microbiome of vultures. This is because as soon as a corpse begins decomposing, all life processes cease to function that were required to sustain the good bacteria that once thrived in its host. And since humans don't have the microbiomes of scavengers like vultures, the bacterial toxins in decaying meat are pathogenic and disease-causing to us. All the good bacteria goes away. Even if B12 did exist in animals, the human would not be able to pick it up anyway. Also, food poisoning from bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella caused by consuming meat contaminated by feces or just handling it in its raw state affects millions every year. It's often misdiagnosed as flu. So it's a real thing, what happens when you're eating meat. Vegans are told two conflicting stories. B12 used to be in the soil, but it's somehow mysteriously vanished. Or two, it's still in the soil, but just not being absorbed because we wash our vegetables too much now. So which is it? Still there, but just being rinsed off, or completely gone AWOL from the ground and evaporated into thin air? This rinsed away down the drain theory is tied into the idea that we are meant to eat dirt. It also completely ignores the fact that any beneficial bacteria in the soil is going to attach directly to the plant via its root nodules and live either on the plant leaf, in the plant roots, or inside the plant. None of these good bacteria are going to be washed off simply from running some water over celery and carrots, so that they actually get into the roots of the plants. Just washing it will not nullify all the good bacteria at all. As it states in volume 221 of Microbiological Research Journal, dated April 2019 and entitled Plant Beneficial Endophytic Bacteria, Mechanisms, Diversity, Host Range, and Genetic Determinants, these bacteria can live both externally or internally in their host plant. Bacteria that live outside their host plants are either epiphytic, a plant that grows on the surface of another plant like a tropical orchid or a staghorn fern, which are those living on the plant leaf surfaces, or rhizospheric, those inhabiting plant roots within the soil, while bacteria that live and thrive inside their host plant are called endophytic bacteria. We've also been told that the reason humans can't produce enough of the crucial bacteria/vitamin internally is because of some weird, inexplicable evolutionary quirk. But the truth is that a healthy gut will produce all of the essential beneficial bacteria it requires, and every single nutrient we've ever needed was in the plants all along. Turns out we never had to drink swamp water or eat dirt, insects, feces, or products derived from animal products after all, or take pills made in a drug lab. Holy mackerel. The soil that crops are grown in is not mysteriously missing one lone oddball nutrient. It's far from being depleted. It is, in fact, chock full of all the vital symbiotic and beneficial bacteria. In fact, the entire fabricated concept of vitamin B12 was based upon a beneficial bacterium known as cyanobacteria, and we learned about that in one of our previous chapters, which is found abundantly in the soil, and it's still there. It's still there. So if you want the OG, what they based B12 off of, what they looked under a microscope and said, ooh, this looks like, and I think it was Margaret Burton that did that. I don't know if my memory's firing 100%. Then just eat the cyanobacteria that they based it off of, which is still available in abundant amounts in root nodule soil, beans, just eat beans. And you'll get all the cyanobacteria that your heart desires. But don't eat the vehicle that they architected from looking at cyanobacteria, the fake lab-made entity that is the fake, this fake thing that you need. It's all a unicorn. It doesn't exist. It's all fake. Just actually eat cyanobacteria. You can do that. It still thrives in the soil. You don't need this whole to partake of this whole lie. In fact, the entire fabricated concept of vitamin B12 was based upon the beneficial bacterium known as cyanobacteria, which is found abundantly in the soil. as well as on rocks and in salt and fresh water. Merck cleverly adopted the same prefix of cyano in their cyanocobalamin concoction. Except this man-made substance is nothing like the natural bacteria, and it literally means cyanide cobalt vitamin. So Merck decided to put cyano in the front of the vitamin wording to signal that it may be, to signal to people that it has some kind of natural means, cyanobacteria maybe. But no, what they're really doing is Trojan horsing in the cyanide and then just labeling it cyano because of the cyanide that they're getting in there. But they know exactly what they're doing. There's a keen and clever underneath all of this. And it's sick and nefarious once you see it for what it is. It's absolutely disgusting. Cyanobacteria just happens to be on the roots of every legume plant as the genus of Rhizobium. So basically, the whole notion and identity of vitamin B12 was plagiarized, usurped, and stolen from legumes, lentils and peas and beans and chickpeas and soybeans, while denying them as a source of every nutrient B12 is alleged to be. The sheer gall and diabolical scheming that went into this elaborate global deception is simply mind-boggling. So I guess Anthony is echoing my interceptive sentiment right there in this paragraph. As for those tests used to measure deficiency, they're misleading, meaningless, and useless. They were only designed to detect levels of the synthetic supplements that have accumulated in the bloodstream. Once again, we've been lied to by the very industries that profit off of the sale of these supplements and from the accusation that the plant-based diet is lacking one essential vitamin. The pharmaceutical companies and animal agriculture industry have worked hand in hand for decades, deliberately perpetuating the myth of vitamin B12 deficiency, and it is unbelievably pervasive. In fact, it is practically a Herculean task to dig up any information that is not total propaganda, and is being spread by the very sources that vegans turn for their health advice. Plant-based doctors that should be stewarding and guiding us. These are liars on a level. They are liars, and they should. This just isn't isness. This is a fact. And nutritionists and organizations like the Vegan Society. Interesting. We were just talking about them earlier and how they sell vitamin B12 on their website. Nowadays, just trying to find anything on the internet that throws the least bit of shade or suspicion on B12 and challenges its validity as an essential vitamin has become like looking for a needle in a haystack. No matter what keywords you input or search engine you employ, the only results that will pop up will virtually be thousands upon thousands of copy and pasted articles and studies, all heavily pushing its importance in legitimacy and the ever-present threat of deficiency. That's all you find. You go to ChatGPT. Remember, ChatGPT, funded by a whole host of investors, multi-billion market caps, companies backing the engine that is ChatGPT, making sure only certain information is furnished and expressed. Come on, it doesn't take rocket science, just follow the money. And when you look at any information online, it's always going to be furnished. It's there, it's furnished. When you have these underlying engines that have more money than God, you just have to challenge every single thing that you read online. Okay, so guys, it looks like I have to wrap it up. I wish I'm not going to be able to finish the entire rest of it. I am getting a signal here that I actually do indeed have to take off. I do apologize. But I want to hammer in that you got to buy this book. That's what I want to hammer in. So everybody, Decidedly Donna, thanks for being here. Dominion, thanks for being here. PJ's here. Ahimsa was in here earlier. Thanks, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Everybody seeing this after the fact. You know, tonight we went over some crazy stuff. We went over what's actually in your B12 pill, right? The cyanide, the cobalt, the mystery bacteria, the coal tar, the acne-causing bacteria. We went over the placebo effect. There's so much more in this book. There's so much more. This book is context. It's context. And it helps you just read the tea leaves. So please buy this book. Put it in your vegan library. Get all the plant-based doctor books. Get them out of there. Instructions to burn. Get them out of there. We are here for the animals, and we want to be truthful for them. Bye, Donna. Take care. I'll touch, maybe talk a little bit about more of how I'm going to polish up this collection of videos as we finish it out, and I'll have a nice kind of reference for everybody, whether I'm on the street or doing other live streams, or that you guys can tell people about, so we can have a nice hub that they can go to find out more about this disgusting, nefarious lie that it is. And if you're a vegan, please be a vegan. You're not vegan if you eat B12. It's that simple. Before you were vegan, you would think, I'm very nice and I'm not vegan. Well, the truth of the matter was, you're not nice if you're not vegan. And we're talking action bases, right? Real bases. Anyway, all right, guys, have a great night. I love you all. Tomorrow night I'll be out on the street, and I'll see you guys then. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great Friday night.